Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to welcome you all on this platform, Unacademy. Happy Dashera, happy Vijayadashmi to all of you. I wish for all of you to excel in this exam, that all of you score very well in this exam, and you get your dream of studying in one of the top management colleges of India fulfilled. So I started taking vocabulary building session on this channel, and I have been taking sessions with different techniques such as pictures, root, current affairs, and theme. So we had session on theme in which we took theme of money, we took theme of travel, and then we took theme of management. With that, we learned a lot of words. Today, I'm live again with yet another session for vocabulary building with theme, and the theme is religion. So what better way to celebrate this festival than learning a few words with religion? All right. So let's get started with today's session for vocabulary building with theme religion. But before that, let me give you a brief introduction of myself. My name is Neelam Malkani, and I possess Masters in English Literature. I have around 12 years of experience of training and guiding students for various competitive exams such as CAT, GRE, GMAT, IELTS, and TOEFL. I have taught them English and verbal reasoning. I have also set and designed assessment papers of English and reasoning for various professional bodies as well as for government bodies of various states. I have also served as an examiner of English for an international organization. Recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English for the preparation of competitive exams. Now, this channel and this video is brought to you by Unacademy, India's largest online learning portal for the preparation of different competitive exams. Let me take you to its portal and tell you how you can be part of this. So first step is going to be the downloading of Unacademy Learning app from your Play Store. Once you download that and fill in all the details, you will be shown 3 different categories. If you want to choose classes for CAT preparation, you have to choose the category of plus. Once you go in that, you will be shown all the courses which are offered under this segment. Once you go for getting the subscription, you will get to know about the different features associated with this specific course, such as 30 hours of live session every day. So as per your convenience, as per your time, as per your availability, you can choose the time of your preparation. You can choose the time of your attending class. All right. So this is the freedom that comes with this platform. These courses which are delivered on the portal are well structured and well designed by those people who have extensive experience of curriculum and module designing. 14 plus top educators across India are going to deliver these courses. These educators have wealth of experience of guiding and mentoring students in their respective domains. Every month, a new course is published and delivered. New courses as per the changed pattern of exam and the new component which are inducted into the new pattern of these exams. All right. So every month you get to see a new course being launched on Unacademy. When you go for subscribing, you will see all the models of subscription. Model for 1 month, subscription for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then for 2 years. So as per your needs and requirement, if you're preparing for CAT 2020, you can go for 1 month to 3 month subscription. right? If you are targeting next year CAT or management exams, you can go for 1 year, all right? So this is the latitude you enjoy. So all these models of subscription have been devised to suit your specific needs. Whichever model of subscription you choose, if you want to avail 10% further discount, you have to type code Neelam. All right? A very important piece of information about National Scholarship Test, which is organized by Unacademy every Sunday. Starting from 18th of October, every Sunday, a National Scholarship Test is going to be organized by Unacademy on the latest pattern of CAT, the changed pattern in which the time is reduced. So as per the changed pattern, this test has been designed by expert faculty members. This gives you the true reflection of your preparedness for this exam this year. Second, you will also get to know about your All India ranking, because ultimately you are going to take this exam on All India level. All right, so you will see where you stand in terms of your performance. Second, you will get detailed analysis of the test and sectional analysis by the faculty members. So you will see what mistakes you made and how you correct those mistakes in coming months. Also, you can also fine-tune your strategy as per attending those detailed sessions, right? What more? You stand the chances of winning Amazon vouchers worth rupees 5,000 if you are one of the top 50 scorers of this test. Alright, so what more can you ask for? Go enroll yourself and take the test. Alright, now let's get started with today's session, as we are celebrating the festival of Vijaya Dashmi, or the festival of Dashera. So I thought of taking one word which perfectly depicts what this festival is about and how this festival is narrated for centuries to all of us. All right. So we all know that this festival symbolizes the victory of virtue over vice, right? So this is how we are told these fables, these stories, these moral stories about the victory of good over evil, right? So here Ravana symbolized vice, whereas Lord Rama manifested all virtues. So he had a triumph over Ravana. That means the good prevailed over evil, right? So that way we have been told all the moral fables which are associated with this particular epic, right? So the word is allegory, right? So allegory is a story, a play, a picture in which each character or event is a symbol representing an ideal or a quality such as truth, death, or evil, right? So Ramayana is narrated in an allegorical way, right? It is an allegory, right? So Ram represents truth. Ram represents righteousness, whereas Ravana represents evil. Alright, so here these two main protagonists of the epic represent some symbol, some virtues, or some values, right? So here in the character of Ram, we understand how truth is embodied in a man or in a character. With Ravana's character, we understand how all these vices are personified. All right, so this is how you can understand the word allegory, right? So allegory is to tell, narrate a story or write a book in the form of symbol. You don't take real character, but rather you take some symbols to tell your story or to say what you want to say. All right, so that style is allegory. All right, so this is one of the figures of speech. All right, so here see the sentence. Apples represent people in this allegorical contest between wilderness and civilization, right? So here a fruit which represents something, right? So which is represented by certain characteristic or certain values. So here, apple is taken up as an allegory. Santa Claus is an allegory that illustrates how one person can change the world by giving, right? By being generous, by being giving, by donating, people what they really want. He symbolizes the character of Santa Claus symbolizes the virtue of giving and sharing, right? So this whole fable related with Santa Claus is also an allegory, right? So allegorical style of saying is when you take some characters as a symbol of something. If you all remember the famous book of Panchatantra, the fables which are related with different animals, and some moral story is there associated with every story of Panchatantra. So that is also written in an allegorical way, because fox represents cunningness, tiger represents strength or ferociousness. So here these virtues or these characters or these values are represented by different animals, right? So when we hear the story of rabbit and tortoise, so we see them as a symbol of slow and steady, right? So here that virtue of slow and steady is manifested in the form of that tortoise, right? So here all these stories of Panchatantra are narrated in allegorical way. Now I hope you understand what allegory means, right? So it is the representation of some values, characteristic in the form of symbols. If you have read this iconic novel of Animal Farm, right? So that's a famous book which is also based on an allegory in which animals represent humans associated with corporate greed, right? So in order to tell how human society works, so the author has taken the plot of Animal Farm, right? So Animal Farm, where all the animals which are there in that farm are representing human society. Alright, so author has not taken the plot which is associated with human, but in order to tell the stories and the characteristic of human, he has taken the plot of an animal farm, right? So you see here allegory being represented in different books, stories, and other ways of communication, right? So I hope with this picture it's very clear that Ramayana in an allegorical way tells us that truth always triumphs over evil. Okay. Another word with religious connotation or with religious association is iconoclast or iconoclastic, right? So icon is a symbol. Icon is also a statue. So in ancient times, those people who were against idol worship, right, who did not conform the rule and the principles of idol worship, they were called iconoclastic, right? So their ideology, their beliefs were against the cherished norms of society. So the cherished beliefs and the tradition of the society was an ideal is taken as a symbol of God, as a symbol of supreme power, right? But those people who did not believe in this ideology were iconoclastic, right? So one who destroys religious images or icons, especially an opponent of the Orthodox Church. So from that, the word has come to signify any person who goes against cherished beliefs of society or cherished norms of society, all right? So see, one who opposes orthodoxy and religion. So a person who is not conservative or a person who does not follow traditions can also be iconoclastic. So I told you about the origin of this word. It has come from the tradition of breaking the icons which were revered by society at that time, the icons or the symbols which were reverential by the society. When these people went against these society norms, they were called iconoclast. So any person who does not follow societal norms is iconoclastic. I would like to exemplify two social reformers of India, Raja Ram Mohan Rai and Ishwachan Vidyasagar. So these two people who had the guts or the audacity to go against what society followed for centuries. So sati practice was prevalent in ancient India as well as in medieval times. See, widow remarriage was considered to be blasphemous in that time, right? But these two people had the guts and the audacity to go against the cherished beliefs of society. They had to bear the wrath of society. They had to bear the wrath of their own community, right? So they were ostracized by their own community members, but they did not surrender. They did not give up, right? So they did not relent before the orthodoxy of society. So that way, those people were iconoclastic. These two social reformers are or were iconoclastic in their own times because they went against society's cherished norms or tradition, right? So I hope with those examples, the word meaning is clear and its usage is also clear. So when you see any person, a person who does not follow the trodden path in any sphere of life, like Steve Jobs, right? So he tried to beautify technology. He tried to fuse technology with beauty. That was such an innovative concept that time. Nobody thought of beautifying the technology. So technology was something which had utilitarian purpose, which had very functional dimension. Nobody thought of making it beautiful. Nobody thought of making it innovative, right? But he thought about it and he implemented and executed what he thought, and finally we have an iconic product called Apple, right? So because of his iconoclastic ways of doing business, he created Apple, right? So that way you can understand that this word is actually applicable to any person who is innovative, any person who is ingenious in his own ways, and same time who does not follow what others do, or person who does not follow the conventional path, right? He creates his own path. He is a pioneer in his own way, all right? So one who attacks cherished beliefs, you can see a sentence, Roger, an iconoclastic or iconoclast in architecture is sometimes described as putting the inside of building on the outside, right? So you see here a person who is completely non-conformist, right? He's not conforming to the rules of architecture, right? So what is at the facade of a building, he's keeping that part inside the building and vice versa. So he's possibly innovating with his own style. He is creating his own path. So he is an iconoclast. So here the word is applicable in the form of architecture, in the domain of architecture. All right. So I hope the word meaning is clear. It came from breaking those idols, but the word is used for any sphere, for any person who goes against cherished norms, right? I hope you people have heard about Narendra Dabodkar or Kalaburgi. These people were killed by French elements, right? So they were attacking the orthodoxy and the superstition which prevail in our society. They were educating people, they were creating awareness among people, they were trying to debust the myth which prevail and which are entrenched in our society. They were doing every bit to advance people in terms of their scientific inquiry, right? And these people were killed. So they were also iconoclastic, right? Because they did not bow down before these superstitions, but rather they paved their own way. They did everything they could to make people aware about scientific inquiry and reasonable things, but they had to lose their life, right? So they were also iconoclastic. All right, so there is no God. The picture says it all. A woman or a girl holding a card saying there is no God, right? So here, out of frustration, out of her resentment, or out of her agony, she is expressing that she does not believe in God, right? But any person who holds this belief, any person who says that he does not believe in any supreme power or God is atheist, or a person who does not believe in ultimate power is an atheist, right? So the word is very clear. Somebody who does not believe in any god or gods is atheist. His father was an atheist. Parents who are atheists do not want prayer imposed on their children in school, right? So since parents are atheists, they do not believe in God, they do not believe in supreme deity, they believe that prayers in schools should not be imposed on their children, right? So that way you can understand, because they do not believe in any God. Although I am an atheist, I don't just automatically hate religion or other faith or other people's faith, right? Though I am atheist, but I don't hate other people's religion, right? So I'm that way, I'm very moderate. I do not, hate if other people are religious or if other people believe in God, right? So my views are confined to my life only. So here you can understand this one, atheist. It's a very popular word because it's associated with root theist, right? So theist or theist is related with God. We have discussed this root in our etymology class, where we had a couple of other words which originated from this root, right? So theology, theomacy, theocracy, atheism, and pantheism, right? So I hope you can refer back to that class if you want to acquire the meaning of words through etymology, that is root, prefix and suffix. So this suffix here is theist. Atheist is a person, theist is for God, atheism is a person who does not believe in God. Alright? Now, there is a very subtle difference between atheist and agnostic, right? So you need to be clear with this distinction, so as if it comes in one of your filling the blanks question or vocabulary question, you have crystal clarity about the applicability of this word or the usage of this word. So atheist is firm believer that God does not exist, right? So he believes it is a non-existent entity. There is nothing like God. Agnostic has different kind of beliefs. He says or he believes that it is not possible to ascertain the existence of God. He does not say it does not exist. He does not say there is nothing called God, and there's nothing called a spiritual or divine power. But what he says is it cannot be figured out. It cannot be, ascertain whether God exists or not. Right? So it is not possible for human, right? It is not possible for human endeavor to find out the existence of God. That is what agnostic is. So he oscillates between the existence of God and non-existence of God. He says he possibly believes that if it exists, it has to be discovered. If it exists, it has to be ascertained what it is and where it is, right? So that way he is skeptical about the existence of God, right? So you become agnostic when you have some bitter experiences in your life, right? So if you are a firm believer, if you are a devout follower of your religion, you keep doing good work, you don't breach any rule of law, breach any rule of religion, code of religion. Nonetheless, if you face adverse circumstances, adversity in your life, hardship in your life, you start getting doubtful whether God exists or not, because you have been a devout follower of your religion and you have been doing good all your life. So you become agnostic after some experiences. When you keep on facing negative circumstances in your life, you become skeptical. You start doubting whether God exists or not. You may not become atheist, right? But you start doubting. So that way, it's again word related with the existence of God, but here it's not completely or firm belief in the absence of God, but rather kind of suspicion. So somebody who does not know or believe that it is impossible to know if a God exists, right? So although he was raised a Catholic, he was an agnostic for most of his adult life, right? So he was brought up in a Catholic environment where he was preached all the goodness of Catholic religion, but all his adult life he became skeptical about the existence of God, right? So from this sentence you can understand that he was not a firm believer of God, but rather he was agnostic. So agnostic comes from that belief related with religion, but can also be used for other spheres of life. If you are agnostic about politics, or if you are agnostic about politicians, that means you don't have firm belief, or you principally do not agree with politics, right? So that way you can understand, you can use this word for other spheres as well. I have become very agnostic politically anyway, but it is based on sheer lack of respect for the political class, right? From this sentence you can understand I am highly agnostic of astrologers, right? So I'm highly agnostic because I possibly have not had very good experiences with them, so I have become agnostic, means I cannot believe them blindly. All right, so you become agnostic about something or someone because you have had bitter experiences or you have burnt your fingers with some negative experiences or unpleasant experiences. All right, so two ways this word can be used for, being uncertain about the existence of God and being uncertain about any other thing in your life. All right, okay. So here, see, this is again a very interesting word which is related with religion only, but it can be used for other spheres of knowledge, right? So a doctrine held by a member of a religion at variance with established religious beliefs, especially dissension from Roman Catholic dogma, right? Couple of tough words here, and the definition is also quite complicated, so let me simplify it for you. So heresy is going against the dogmatic beliefs of your religion, right? So there are certain beliefs in every religion which are not practical or which do not conform to modern society, which may, may not be, may not be suitable for living a comfortable life, right? Sometimes heresy can also be characterized by those statements or beliefs which are against religion, which are starkly against religion, right? So if your religion says something, so if somebody is accused of heresy, that means he's saying something which is just against your religion, right? So heresy or heretical are those thoughts which are against religion, which are in stark opposite of your religion, right? So a controversial or unorthodox opinion held by a member of a group in politics, philosophy, or science, right? I'll give you two examples here to clarify it further. So Copernicus and Galileo. So these two scientists held beliefs which were against the Orthodox Church. Church believed that the universe is revolving around Earth, right? Whereas they came up with the idea, they propounded the theory that universe is not revolving around Earth, but rather it's revolving around Sun, right? So it was against what church believed in. It was against what church was preaching, right? So it was not geostationary, but sorry, it was not geocentric, but rather it was heliocentric. So they propounded this idea that this universe is heliocentric. That means Sun is at the center of this universe and all the other planets are surrounding, revolving around Sun. So they came to this theory, but they were ostracized, right? They were not only ostracized, but rather they had to bear brunt because of propounding a theory which went against church, right? So they were termed heretical, or they were accused of heresy. Their theory was accepted later on. The theory was widely accepted by scientists later on, but they had to bear the brunt, they had to pay price with their life, right? So Galileo and Copernicus, two astronomers who propounded this theory which was ahead of their time, right? So scientists later on accepted that, and then after more research it was widely accepted by not only by church but by scientific community as well, right? So they were ahead of their time, but that time when they came up with this theory, when they gave this idea that it's not geocentric but rather it's heliocentric, it was heresy because it was against religion, it was against church, right? Because it was unorthodox, it was unconventional. All right, with that example, I hope now it's crystal clear what heresy is and what heterodoxy is. Both words are same, right? So let's look at some examples to to understand the meaning further, he was burned at the stake for heresy. So he said something which was against religion, he said something which was against conventional, followed by church, and that guy he was burned alive at the stake, right? So this picture shows somebody is is being burned at stake because she's accused of heresy. The heiress of early Protestants. He had been called before the August gathering to answer the charges of heresy, which could threaten his very life. So, August gathering, that means pious gathering, those people who are considered venerated, who are very respected and regarded in certain area. So, before them, the person has been called in, and he has to answer why he said what he said against religion. All right, so that's why heresy. In order to avoid charges of heresy, Nostradamus, the famous soothsayer who prophesied a lot of things which proved out to be true, Nostradamus wrote in a deliberately vague and obscure manner. From this sentence, you can understand. So he said certain things in his prophecies which could go against the beliefs of church, which could go against the conventions of church. So he wrote in a very obscure manner, so that it is not explicit. It is not, written in a very clear manner, but people had to decode or decipher what he wrote and who he wrote about, right? So that way you can understand this word here, because he did not want to be accused of heresy. Otherwise, he had to lose his life, or he had to face the dire consequences. So in order to avoid that, he circumvented and wrote all his prophecies in a very vague, unclear manner. All right? So heresy was a crime, and people had to lose their lives if they said anything against church or religion. Right? So heresy, same word is heretical. Right? So a person who is accused of heresy is heretical. The opposite, to or against the official or popular opinion. Now I have used this word, I've taken up this word as well apart from heresy, so that you can use this word in other contexts as well. So heresy is usually used in religious affairs, religious issues, but rather heretical is used in every, it can be used in multi-dimensional way, in different ways. So you can be heretical if you are against the popular beliefs of society. You can be heretical if you oppose what scientific community believe, right? So he did not reveal his heretical views on the drug war until he was re-elected. So here a person who has political ambition, right? So he was fighting an election, but he did not reveal his heretical views on drug war until he was re-elected. That means this word is used for a person who had different views